What is going on, shrimp keepers? We are here at Gary's house in Cincinnati. He's a goldfish guru, I'm told. And so I'm really excited to see his fish room. We just started talking and I wanted to get my camera because he's dropping some bombshells and stuff that I've never even heard of. So super excited to show this. But look, he's got this tank as soon as you walk in. I want to say this is about 120 gallon. And just some beautiful, beautiful goldfish in here. And so this is the door to the fish room. So let me walk you back here. Alright, so we walk in and here's Gary, and we got Steve with us. And Gary, first of all, how many tanks do you got back here? Because I haven't been able to look around yet.
84 in here.
84 in here?
Yeah.
And they're not little tanks.
No, I think there's like 20 tanks over 100 gallons.
Wow.
So it's kind of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then, you know, a whole group of 75s, and then the wall behind you are mostly 20 highs.
Oh, okay.
And they're mostly what I do baby fish in.
Gotcha.
And get them up to a certain size of them. Those are Shonka Moors.
So you breed a lot of goldfish.
About 15 to 20 varieties. 15 to
20 varieties?
Yeah. Some years I don't do a variety, but I still have it.
Gotcha.
And sometimes I'll breed it once and then put the fish back outside.
If you could give advice to anyone watching, whether it's fish related or life related, what would your advice be?
Ask your wife before you do it.
Have you gotten in trouble quite a few times?
No.
Oh, see, I get in trouble all the time.
No, I'm not in trouble. I largely say, I think I'm going to buy a new line of fish. What are you going to buy? I think I'm going to buy Jeekins. They're $375 a piece. Haven't you killed those twice before?
Oh,
yes,
no.
I have. Why don't you buy a different line? So there you go. Buy a different line of fish. So that's what I do. So it's pretty easy.
So you don't even want those, right?
Well, I do want this, but she thinks she's correct. I've killed them 2 other times.
Yes, it's time to try something else.
They're very fragile and bred unusual fish.
Yeah.
But $375 a piece, and you probably need 10 of them.
That adds up quick.
It's a lot of money, and they're fragile, so it was good advice on her.
Real quick, you told me about these guys.
Yeah,
just give me a quick overview of these so they don't miss it.
Those are Bristol Shabunkins, and they're calico fish, which means they have a mixture of transparent scales and metallic scales. And those are from John Barcelona. We did a genetic swap on those. We'll show you the other half shortly.
Nice, and I like you pointed out that their tail is heart shaped.
Heart shaped, right? And
super
the more modern variety tends to go from a heart-shaped tail to a B as in boy-shaped tail.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
very cool.
These are Philadelphia veil tails, and this is a metallic variety, and they'll all be red. And they come from Japan in the late 1800s. And there's about 5 or 6 people in the United States and Canada that breed those. And keep them.
And that's it?
They're not commercial fish. No, nobody breeds them. There's too many calls. You get about 10-15% tops.
Now, what makes them so unique?
Extremely long fins.
Okay.
And you can tell them by the pectoral fins are extremely long as compared to all the other goldfish. Yeah. But this high dorsal and a square tail.
Beautiful. So even that black one will turn a real nice metallic red color?
Maybe.
Hopefully. That's the hope.
Whatever. You know, I have them in blue and, well, what goldfish people call blue. And I have them in calico, which is a mixture of metallic and transparent scales. And I have a couple mats, so.
That's awesome. Now, real quick, I'm just really interested.
Cheerleader pom-poms.
Those are cheerleader pom-poms.
Yeah.
And that's what they spawn in?
You know, everybody used to go nylon mops, you know, nylon yarn, and everybody has now gone to cheerleader pom-poms. And you know, they're 89 cents a piece at Oriental Trading, and you use them until they start falling apart.
And then you swap them out.
Then throw them away. Yeah. So you're a shrimp guy. See the shrimp? All hanging in the grass.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, lots of shrimps. So.
Those Sakuras, huh?
Sakuras, yeah.
And you said you overwintered these outside in Cincinnati.
Well, I didn't overwinter. They overwintered themselves. They went out with some plants and fish, and the next spring when we cleaned the pond, they were there. So, and that's my Plex. You see the that's the mosaic zebra L316.
Oh, I like the face on it.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
It is really cool.
Vegetarian, soybean eater. See that one?
Yeah.
So the original
That's
stock was
crazy.
wild. I've had them for a decade, you know. So.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
What generation are you on?
No, I wouldn't like to know. I trailed for a living when I worked.
Yeah.
And I killed them all but 3 fish. And then I had a group of babies, and they don't breed for years.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I had really old fish and really new fish when they bred about 3 years ago. So we're back.
Now they're breeding good?
Yeah, they don't have very big clutches. You know, it could be a half dozen fish or so, and so that's my tank.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now what's up with these ponds down here? These are huge. You got 2 of them.
Gallon, there's 10 in the room.
10 in a room.
Yeah, and there's 120 gallon, 8 foot by 1 foot by 2 foot.
That's the perfect
And-
dimensions.
Yeah, and they've been here for over a decade.
Oh my
And
gosh.
they're from Aquatic Ecosystems when it was before it became Pentair.
Oh, so what they do, clear out a section and...
No, I mean they used to sell them as Aquatic. They still sell them as Pentair, but back when they were Aquatic Ecosystems, I bought a 10 of them. So
Wow.
yeah, so and those are mostly rancher. There's some other things in there.
These are grow-out tanks, I'm guessing?
Yeah. You have to keep the water really shallow with top of your ranchu, or the tail angle gets wrong. And,
Really?
Yeah, and
How does that work?
it's from swimming up and down like this. The tail angle is more like this than this.
So if you keep it shallow, they won't swim up and down, they'll just swim sideways.
Swim sideways.
That's
and
really
you get the
cool.
right tail angle. So
All these little things you'd never think about.
Yeah, these are dragon-eyed randas, and
Those are pretty.
they're nice. And there's some other stuff in there, obviously. So.
No, these bigger ones are all your breeders?
For the most part, you notice there's guppy contaminants in all my tanks.
I did see that. I was going to bring that up later.
Yeah. So and then blue arandas. This is a veil tail. This is a moor, another moor, and then these are Philadelphia veils. Let's see if we can catch one.
It's hard to get in there.
Yeah. The things you'll do for your fish, right?
Things you'll do for a good video.
Yeah. So, come on, boys.
They're gorgeous.
They're really neat fish. And see, this is what the goldfish people call blue. I don't know if the light's going to show it or not, but it's a dark slate gray color.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's a metallic fish.
That's pretty.
Yeah. So. And at goldfish, it's all about scale types. This is a mat fish, which is basically the scales. You're looking at the skin because you're looking through the scales. And this is a veil tail that is doesn't have all the traits, so it gets called a chop tail.
A chop tail.
And when you breed this to a metallic, you get 100% calico. Well, and we might see that later. So,
Wow.
yeah, so that's kind of cool.
So this is more complex than shrimp, I'm thinking.
I don't know. I don't know about shrimp. Hey, shrimp to me, oh yeah, they're in the tank. So these are Shanka Moors. And there's another one back there. And there's one here. They had telescope eyes. Amy Sim Shanka, the original founder and breeder of that stock from pet store quality fish. And they're about 12th generation. She lives in Kansas. And,
Okay. And that's who you originally got them from?
yeah, we swap fish. Most of the serious breeders of goldfish swap them, and that's what we do. That's my oldest fish. He doesn't look very good. That's a telescope with only one telescope, but he's 20 years old. So
Wow, he looks old.
he's staying, you know. So
Yeah, he can live out his life.
He can stay as long as he wants. Baby veils, you know, mixture of different things. Blue one, red and white, another red and white.
Now, what do you do with all the fry? Obviously, you sell them.
Yeah, and I mail maybe 50 boxes a year.
50 boxes a year?
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to get a goldfish off to you, how do they get in contact with you?
They find me on the internet.
On the internet?
Facebook mostly.
Mostly? Do you have an email I could hand out?
It's grhgoldfish@yahoo.com.
GRH?
Goldfish, all one word, at yahoo.com.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll have people contacting you.
That'd be
then.
nice. So,
Yeah.
so you know, these grow out tubs.
Hey, you maximized your space, huh?
Yeah. The fish room that I had before this had more tanks, and you had to walk sideways through the rows. And so
I've been there.
So when we did this, we went the other way. Yeah. So these are all youngsters. Most of the adults are outside, and
How many tanks do you have outside?
oh, a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Big tanks.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
then.
So these are more the Moors from the Shonka Moors.
Shonka Moors, which are the ones
Amy Shonka, yeah, from
out of Kansas.
Kansas, yeah.
Interesting. Now, what makes this different than any other line?
Well, it's a broadtail. They call it a broadtail, and most people in the fish business would call it a veil tail. But because it's got telescope eyes, it's called a broadtail instead of a veil tail. So
Okay.
it's got the square tail, it's got telescope eyes, and it's got a high dorsal fin.
Okay, now the telescope eyes are just when the eyes protrude from the body?
Yes.
Now, what's the difference between there was like dragon eyes over there?
Oh, there are also telescopes. The dragon eyes are a different breed of fish, and that they're older. And the correct form for the fish in this tank is this guy with the eyes a little bit forward and a red spot on his head and a white body.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
that's like the perfect one.
Yeah, and the rest of these guys are leftovers from a disease accident where I lost all the breeders. You know, which happens.
So now you have to recover with them?
Yeah,
I get you.
You gotta raise them up and fish them back, so to speak. You know?
Here, I'll let you go this way first, and then you can kind of explain things as we work through.
So these are more top view ranchus, babies, and then there's also telescopes of a different type in there. And those are Vietnamese.
I like this one right here.
That one?
Yeah, with the,
That one, the black and the three color one?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a Vietnamese telescope.
that's gorgeous.
That's an English veil. So the Philadelphias and them are related. But these were, at World War II, they were put into England and raised up. So
Those are gorgeous, all the spots on it.
Yeah. So that's a calico fish.
Now, to breed that one, like out of the babies, how many percent would be that versus the others?
10 to 15%.
Okay, so
Because
it's,
when you breed a calico fish,
yeah.
25% are mats, which are throwaways. 25% are metallics, which are throwaways. 50% are calico. So you start off, when you get big enough that you can see them,
Yeah.
you throw half of them away.
So basically 50% are throwaways
To start.
to start. And then how does it go from there?
Well, then they have to have split fins, and they have to have two anal fins, and they have to have a high dorsal fin.
So there's lots of deformities
Lots
with
of
them?
deformities there.
Wow.
Yeah, they're tetraploid organisms. They're not diploid. So there's lots more variability. Those are Shonka Moors again.
All ones that you've been breeding?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's all out of one cross. Those are the three tanks there. So.
That's crazy. Now, are there some that, what are these, white clouds?
White clouds. Those are Vietnamese white clouds. Down there is longfin white clouds.
Wow. You do keep something other than goldfish.
Oh yeah, otherwise everybody thinks you're boring, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's
I
funny.
even have fancy guppies besides the family.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, what are these?
Vietnamese white clouds.
Oh, wow, you got a couple tanks of these.
Yeah, they're easy.
And these are the fancies?
Yeah, they're kind of, they've become mutts over the years, and but they still have nice tails.
Yeah, so you keep them in the fish room just
Yeah.
for something for guests to look at.
And then behind here, my only angelfish. When I was in high school, way back before you were born. I did Angelfish, and so I was at our annual swap meeting this winter, and I just had, they were.
You couldn't resist.
I couldn't resist. I bought a whole bunch of small angelfish, so
I like
they're
them.
going to get moving to a larger tank here shortly. And
I do love angelfish.
yeah.
Very cool.
So these are adults. These are some breeders, and so this is a blue. I know that some people say, well, those are kind of gray. No, those are blue. And then this is an uncolored fish. And so that's what you would call brownish.
Yeah, so it's almost like a brown.
Yeah, and then these are calico fish.
Those are gorgeous.
Those are pretty nice fish.
Now, do you ever get some goldfish that are just like 90% are keepers when they breed?
Yeah, and they're almost always telescopes.
Are they?
Yeah, because the telescopes are a very recessive gene.
Yeah.
And so everything's lined up. And so those chunkamores, lots of really good keepers. So you,
okay.
You're,
So
you're,
there's
you're
not
in the
much
50% range, and you're not throwing them away. You're probably giving them to somebody that's gonna,
Work with them.
Work with them or something.
Very cool.
So more. These are almost all veils. Some of these are not veils, like this one. This came out of a veil cross, and we keep some of those occasionally.
Now, it's not called a veil because the tail is more broad.
Well, short, right? It's
Oh,
not long,
short,
it's not
okay.
long flowing pectorals. It's not long flowing tail fin. It doesn't have a high dorsal. But what it's got is a really thick peduncle.
Peduncle? What's a peduncle?
Peduncle is the tail, the space between the end of the fish and where the fin begins. That's the peduncle.
Okay.
And so, see how thick it is?
Yeah.
Compared to that or that. And so we cross back to a thick fish that's a non-veil every third generation.
No.
And so that way the tails don't get too long. Because these have really bad habits when the tails get too long. They stand on them.
They stand
Instead
on
of
them.
swimming, you come in, they're all standing up,
Oh, so you can't have that.
Yeah. So
So
early in the tape,
interesting.
you were talking about Bristols. And these are Bristols that are mine. I've had them for 20 years maybe.
Yep, I
But
see the heart shape.
This guy here is,
That's a monster fin.
yeah, 7 months old.
He's 7 months old.
Yeah, and it's an out cross, a back cross. So it's an F1, an ancient fish I had in the yard.
An F5, and that gave you some really good genetics.
Yeah, it gave me some really.
Now,
nice.
was that F5 yours or from overseas?
No, it's mine. Yeah.
Wow.
So I've had the thing for several generations now. So
How cool is that?
yeah.
Now, as far as breeders of goldfish in the United States, where would you rank yourself? Because I mean, you're spitting some information here.
I don't know. Top 10. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's 100 varieties, so there's lots of room for expertise. And
Gotcha.
a lot of stuff is just too frustrating for me. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So
Now, a lot of the main breeders, do you guys all get along? Do you talk a lot?
and then we all get together and
Do you?
drink beer. Yeah, sure. yeah, we do.
I love it.
Yeah. It's a secret location.
Is it?
Yeah.
So we're not revealing that.
No.
How cool.
So this is what an adult rancher looks like.
Yeah, no fin on.
No fin on the top.
Nice short tail.
Nice short tail. Thick peduncle. Square nose. And then
Square nose.
yeah, and then see that little bump and that little bump. That's called funtan. And that's
Funtan.
Funtan. Yeah. So
Interesting. So there's a lot that goes into it.
yes.
You got to get it?
No.
Okay.
Fish guy.
Man. How many babies would you say you have right now?
Not very many.
No,
So-
this
so-
is nothing compared to normal?
January, February, March, maybe 30,000 fish.
Holy
Yeah,
smokes.
so it goes on forever. So, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, let's see the outside.
Okay.
We didn't miss anything, did we?
Oh yeah, we did. But
These guys, I like this.
so these are English veils. And they have the long fins. They're a little bit different than Philadelphia veils, even though they come from the same line of fish. They originally all were fillies, But the English have done some really remarkable things with them. I'm not heavy.
So are the English pretty heavy into goldfish then?
Really in the goldfish. They're better hobbyists than the U.S.
I believe that.
Yeah,
Sure.
they really are. They're serious people, and they're pretty serious with inbreeding. So that they fix the trait really well, much better than us. So you know their tails, why they're square, and they have the high dorsal. This tail is very short.
It's very short.
Yeah, so that's what they selected for, and they've done a really good job of it.
Now, having a square tail, is that desirable?
Yes. Yes.
That's not easy because most of them you said are B-shaped.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
nice ones got heart shapes.
Yeah. So, back when veils were a big thing in the early 1900s, they used to take razor blades before they went to a show and cut the tails so that they were really straight.
No way.
Yeah. It's true.
Tricks of the trade.
Yeah. So these are purple. And you might say, well, they kind of look washed out. Yeah, they're washed out. They're purple.
Purple.
Violet, okay. Off we go to the outside.
Off we go.
I've been fighting raccoons this week. I was in Florida last week and I came back and my 13 best ranchers were missing.
Oh no.
From this year's spawning. And basically they lifted up a lid to keep them out, moved it over so they could squeeze through, got under the lid and ate 13 fish.
Wow.
So they didn't drown themselves, huh?
No. They were just missing, you know. So this pond gets a little bit of everything I have. I don't want to throw away. I might want to go back to the genetics.
I actually really like the pond, the way it looks.
It's got leaves this year. We've lived here 42 years, right?
Yeah.
And I came back from a business trip in which I was working for a goldfish nonprofit, and I came back, and that's hornwort. And there was no leaves on the lily. A deer hopped the fence, got in the pond, and ate every lily leaf. I am just going,
What the heck?
It's, I've been fighting raccoons and blue herons for decades.
And then all of a sudden a deer gets the best of you.
Yeah.
Oh, you look at them all out there. How many gallons would you say this is roughly?
This is 1,400.
1,400.
Yeah.
How deep?
It's 18 inches except for a rectangle about where the fish are, and that's 32 inches.
Oh, for winter?
Yeah, and that's where the shrimp winter over. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, how do you even catch these out of here when you want to work with them again?
I throw a sump pump in and
drain it.
Yeah, it's easiest. First send grandkids in. That works.
They love that, huh?
Yeah.
An excuse to get in. I love it. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Nothing more relaxing than a pond in the backyard. Yeah. But I'm guessing there's many more to come.
I'd say we got more. So we got a tub over there.
Oh yeah. Is that one of the 10 or did you buy more?
That's one of the 10. This pond is green, and it's defensive largely because the herons have been beating the hell out of me. I'm tired of putting cover on them. But
hello.
that was my wife. Yeah.
Do you want to be on camera or no? No.
So that has Kamasabas in it, which are a single-tail variety from Japan. We could try catching some of them.
What a unique fountain idea.
There's a place on the north side of Cincinnati.
That's pretty cool.
They sell those, yeah.
What is it?
They drill them. What's the name of that place, Shane? Aquatic Decor and Design.
I think that's it. Yeah.
On Route 42.
Yep.
And you buy them and they'll drill them for you and sell you a pump kit.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's unique. This is a pretty big pond too.
Yeah, it's 1,100 gallons.
This is the perfect place to read a book.
Yes, isn't it?
Nice and relaxing, yeah. I love it. Oh my gosh. Now that's a sweet pond. Oh yeah.
Let's go get some food.
Find some raccoons.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is cool.
Oh wow, look at that.
Look at that guy.
These are monsters.
I didn't expect this big of a pond back here, did you?
No. I didn't see it until we walked on it.
Holy smokes. I'd love to have one of these. And it's crazy, this is just right in the middle of a suburb. Probably a 4,000 or 5,000 gallon pond. Maybe even more. Oh, cool. How many gallons?
8,000.
8,000.
Could be 9.
You ever throw the grandkids in here?
Oh, yeah, we swim in there. Yeah. I think that's big stuff, you know.
Oh, yeah. How deep?
4.5 foot. We hit bedrock, so.
Nice.
We wanted 6, and we just couldn't.
You couldn't go any deeper.
That slate gray one is not a fabulous fish, but it's really tame, so we keep her.
I love it. I bet you these breed like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
If you wanted to.
See all the things that look like guppies?
Oh, yeah.
Those are mosquito fish.
Oh, my God.
And I have them in there to eat decoy babies.
Is that really what you have them in there
Yeah.
for?
Yeah, I used to have to drain the pond in August and take out hundreds.
Or else they would just overpopulate.
Well, yeah, I still have, and then you can see I do some goldfish in there, but yeah.
How cool. How did you brace this wall? Is this just...
My son has a really strong back.
So is this just bricks just laid up and then you put the liner up against it?
No, not really. It's bricks laid up, and then the dirt that was in the pond that was now in the yard, we packed, so it's actually sitting on a clay wall. So it's
okay.
So the bricks are up against a clay wall, and it's been here. It's been here for 10 years. So
any issues at all with it?
koi are really heavy feeders, and consequently, you have to clean the bead filter at least once a day. That's the biggest issue.
Holy smoke!
And it's got a giant UV. The UV is almost 5 foot tall.
And it has to have it.
Yeah.
Or else does it get too cloudy?
That or you just can't see the fish. And this isn't clear. When I'm on vacation, it's too difficult to get a neighbor to do anything but feed the fish, so the filter goes off. Just the aeration stays on. And so I came back from vacation. Now I'm,
getting in recovery.
Yeah, I'm in recovery. Get rid of the algae again. So.
Wow. I'm sure that tree helps a decent amount. I'm sure.
Yeah, not too bad until it starts dropping acorns.
And then it gets tanned up.
Yeah. So we haven't seen it yet, but there's a paddlefish in there too.
A paddlefish?
Yeah.
What's a paddlefish?
It's a filter feeding fish, much more like a whale. They get 8 foot long.
Holy
And
smokes.
there's
Real long snout.
yeah, snout like a canoe paddle. And there's one in there. He's been in there for 40 years.
Oh,
So,
cool.
He should be bigger, but the water space is not big enough. And he's pellet trained. So
That's really cool.
yeah.
How long have you had the pond?
This is year 10.
I love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is really awesome.
And well, all you need is a bunch of college kids with shovels.
That's it.
Yeah.
Is that what you had? Or you just had a son?
No, I had a son. He was director and bricklayer. He made sure that it was level, and then, it was not an easy task.
No, nothing this big is ever easy.
But we were disappointed we couldn't go 6 foot deep, but pounding on bedrock's no good. So.
No, there's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
At least it can't really drain out
Yeah.
on the bottom. Now, how do you get up there to change it?
Yeah, that's a
Do you have
good
to
question.
walk all the way around?
Yeah, pretty much. So,
do you-
you can see it hasn't been weeded this year.
No.
So,
You wade across, huh?
yeah, we always get in. So it's, so
That is awesome.
yeah.
Now you got more stuff too?
Sure.
Never ending.
And that's what my wife did. So this is the tank that they just ate all the fish. The raccoons just ate all the fish in.
Wow.
They basically went like this, and they squeezed through, got under this, and removed all the fish.
So every single one out of here was
There's
gone.
one fish still here, somewhere.
The sole survivor.
And he's about 3 inches. At least he was here yesterday. Yeah, but,
You never know.
yeah. So,
Yeah, that stinks.
kind of discouraging. So we went to war.
So you went to war and then you'll win.
He's still winning.
Is he?
Well, this is what it would typically look like.
Yeah.
Not with all the fecal material, because these haven't been cleaned yet this week. They've had a water change, but you got to get in there and siphon that stuff out.
Yeah.
So the big ones are what they call oyas. So that's a 3-year-old fish. And then
Wow.
all the smaller fish were born in this year.
They grow really quick.
Yeah, it's all about feeding them to win the show.
Yeah, because you feed them, what, 3 times a day?
3 times a day, and when they're little, they start off at about 3 or 4 weeks. No, at 2 weeks, they go from hatched brine shrimp to hatched brine shrimp and steamed eggs. And the steamed eggs, they just blow up. And then once they get about 1.5 inches, you move to bloodworms, and you start off with frozen bloodworms shaved with a razor blade, and then gradually move into full-size bloodworms.
Wow.
So.
Now, the eggs, just literally eggs from the store.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's a dozen eggs.
Yep.
Equal volume of water, garlic. Pulse it on a blender. Don't mix it. Pulse it.
Pulse it.
Till you have an emulsion. You put it in coffee cups, and you have the coffee cup sitting in boiling water.
Yeah.
And so you steam them for 6 minutes, and I can show you. And it looks like it's a little bit runnier than yogurt. When it's done.
Wow.
And everything eats it. I'm surprised everybody hasn't switched to that.
So do you feed it just in a paste then?
Well, it's you kind of flick it with a spoon, and as it hits the water, it kind of crumbles a little, and then once the fish get about this big, they play games and like to charge through it, so you have it looks like snow, you know. But it can stay all day.
That's very cool.
It can stay all day without fouling the water, and so you know I'm doing guppies and live bears and angels and almost everything else with it.
You did a video on that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Where's that video at?
Oh,
online?
We'll find it for you.
Yeah, we'll find it. So these are all adults.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
They do that little waddle when they're swimming.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, before we get any farther, why goldfish? Like, how did goldfish be the one thing that stuck out of everything you've bred?
Well, you can make your own color, and you can make your own variety.
Yeah.
And if you look at Philadelphia Veiltails, for example, I can tell if they're my fish no matter who has them.
Really?
Yeah, and the ranchus, these are Hayashis, imported from Japan 4 years ago through Genki Koi on the west coast, and koi and goldfish on the west coast, and you know, so you have a famous breeder in Japan. I have his line of fish. I'm just continuing his line of fish. The fish are really well accepted because they're pretty easy to grow.
Yeah.
And Kevin Pham, who runs Genki Koi, continues to get the same line of fish in, so we're not running into inbreeding problems like other people. You know, you get a batch of fish in, and then that source dries up. That breeder source from Japan dries up. So this breeder source comes in every year like clockwork. So if you need some more males, or need some more
every year you can get another
more
breeder.
Fish. Yeah. So
Interesting.
so these tubs are kind of neat. And they're not very photogenic.
So these are all homemade?
These are homemade. They're 4 foot by 8 foot, and they're 32 inches tall. And yes, we've done the calculations. They'll hold water. They're braced really significantly. And
It's like what, 2x4s?
Well, it's a combination of 2x4s and 2x6s.
Okay.
And what you can't see because of the cover is that there's a 2x4 here and a 2x4 here.
Yep.
And there's 2x4s going up and down, and here, and on the bottom. And
it's actually lifted up off the ground, right?
It's off the ground because
Yeah.
they had to be level. And so you have outdoor plywood, 3/4 inch, followed by inch of foam,
Yeah.
followed by barn siding. And then I have polycarbonate windows that go bolt to the top. So we keep fish in here all winter. And with a small heater, they're tight enough that you can feed them all winter if you want. So they keep the water above 55 for not very much money. So
cool.
we like them, you know, and they don't have a filter. They just have aeration. So
do they get heavy water changes then with the rain and everything?
Well, this one is in the process of draining to the flower bed, and it's basically about a 50% water change once a week, and this one's coming down. I'm using this as a quarantine tank for baby koi.
Okay.
So I bought a bunch of young koi from Genki Koi and Happy Koi Farm in Louisville in May, and so these guys are just coming out of quarantine, and so they'll go in the main pond, and this will get flushed and scrubbed and all that other stuff, and then baby fish will come out here for fall grow out.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Very cool.
yeah.
How much work was this? Getting all these built?
Us retired guys don't care about that. I can tell you that even all this, homemade stuff, it still cost us $1 a gallon.
Wow.
So the tubs were about, they got polycarbonate tops. I mean, it's double pane, like they build greenhouses out of.
Yeah.
So it wasn't inexpensive. It's got rubber liner in it.
Yep.
It's got insulation in it.
My question is, how do you keep it from bowing? Is the whole bottom 2x6s?
The bottom is 2x6s and plywood.
Okay.
And foam. So it goes foam, plywood, 2x6s.
2x6s. How far apart did you brace them? Do you remember? Because that's a lot of weight.
18 inches.
18 inches.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is year 3. So
And they're doing good.
yeah, we haven't had any leaks, and we're really happy with the fact that you can keep fish in here without a heater over winter.
Yeah.
If you want to heat them and feed them,
It's not that much.
it's not very much money. I got a 200 watt heater in that one, and I got to turn to like 60. We didn't notice any difference. No, my wife didn't notice any difference in the electric bill.
Well, that's all that matters. Even if you have to unplug some stuff in the inside to make up
That's
for
right.
it.
So
That's really cool.
that's the. I think that's the whole of it. The only other piece I have is that barn. Half of it's koi pond form, and the other half is a separate room that's insulated, double pane glass, and all the subtropical plants that you see in pots in the yard go in there. But of course, there's 4 fish tanks in there.
Oh my
And
God.
so that's heated to 52, and that's cool enough. Goldfish really, once they're older than a year, after they've spawned the first time, to get them to spawn on cue, you have to hibernate them. So for 8 weeks, they have to be non-eating, digesting fat, this kind of stuff. So
And as soon as they wake up, they start breeding.
So my breeding thing is one of these deals where the fish in the tubs here, they stay outside until Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
And then the day after Thanksgiving, they come in. And the only exception is if we have 10-degree weather, because those are really shallow.
Yeah.
They're only 8 inches. And so by then they've seen ice and they haven't eaten for about 6 weeks. And so they'll come in. And when they come in, the fish that are indoor that are going to get bred go out in the greenhouse or the barn, and they stay there until mid-January. And so these fish start breeding Christmas week. So it's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
So, and the good thing is I get to play with it all year. Lots of people give up on their fish hobby in the wintertime, goldfish hobby, because their fish are under ice or whatever. And I just bring them in and spawn them, so I have babies first, which is really good.
Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, I got babies.
Yeah, I got babies.
Well, Gary, thank you so much for the tour, and thank you for showing us your fish room in this awesome pond.
You're welcome.
Loved it.
Yeah.